Honestly, I'm totally fine if you want to, Mark. We can just we can call it a wrap. I know we started the show, but we can end it right now. We don't need to talk about this week's games or really anyone in particular, not to single any of them out. Um,
I know you're devastated about Chip Kelly getting fired.
yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
I mean, ultimately, I just really it's a soft spot. Chip Kelly has a big
I,
place in my heart.
I heard he asked them to fire him so he could take the LSU job.
Yeah, well, hey, I mean, there you go. There you go.
Or the
Wouldn't be the first time an NFL coach is
or the Penn
pulled
State
that,
job.
but or the
I
Penn
mean,
State job. Yeah,
there's a lot of college jobs open for Chip. For
yeah,
Chip.
and hey, South Carolina might be a job opening pretty soon. We'll see. I don't know. Um,
Lane Kiffin can't take all the jobs.
but no, that is you bring up a good point there with the firings from this past week. Several coordinators getting let go. The New York Giants completely cleaning house.
Yeah.
So we know that Brian Dable had been fired, and now it's now it's on to the coordinators leaving town as well. You mentioned Chip Kelly, this
Yeah.
atrocious Raiders offense. I mean, have you seen? Can you recall like a worse? Because for all the Titans' woes, they've been
No, the
very bad. They at least have shown flashes of like promise. I haven't seen a single thing from the Raiders that makes you feel, other than obviously Ashton Genty, and he's got ability. Um, but man, yeah, it's a total dumpster fire there in Vegas with Pete Carroll and company.
Yeah, they're the opposite of what we thought they would be, which is like stable. They're the
Yeah,
anti-stable. They're trash and Pete's probably out. Like it's probably like it's like this wasn't right and thank you for your service, but we salute you. Get the hell out of Vegas. My big thing with the Raiders is they to me have fulfilled the prophecy that every year there is a team that beats a team. And then we look back at the end of the year and go, wait, how the hell did they lose to that team? Week 1, do you know who the Raiders beat week 1?
um,
Raiders started the season 1-0, and this team started the season 0-1.
was it the Chargers? Did they beat the
It was
Chargers?
the New England Patriots.
Ah, yeah.
So
Well,
that's
yeah.
like
Now we're seeing, the Steelers beat the Patriots early in the season, and that's not looking like a great loss there for New England either.
no, it's one of those
But
classic moments we have in the NFL. It happens like every year, like week
yeah,
1 or 2, something
yeah. I mean, we
happens.
we always talk about the Saints from was it
Last
last
year.
year 2-0,
Yeah,
and
2 and
and
0,
or,
and
and
then
then
you
we're
look
like, oh
back at
wow,
it and you
they're
go, what the hell? And for the Giants, they're this year's Chicago Bears. Remember the Bears after Thanksgiving, it was a year ago. The Chicago Bears, Matt Eberflus was fired midseason. The first time the Bears had ever fired a coach midseason. The Giants, another historic franchise, they fire a head coach midseason, and then the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator get fired. Well, the Bears fired their offensive coordinator and their head coach, and then it was like their offensive coordinator became their head coach because of the offensive coordinator. It's like that's what's happening with the Giants right now, where they're on a staff now that it's like I started as the quality control guy and now I'm the assistant head coach. Um, Kafka is I don't know if he's making the calls or who's making the calls in New York as far as those firings go, but they are at Bears level of cleaned house at this point in time.
yeah, it is. Dare I say Kafkaesque over there in New York, but. We've got a lot to get to, including, unfortunately, a discussion on the Bears Steelers game. I'm not necessarily looking forward to this one. I'm sure you are. We'll get to all that and much more from week 12 coming up here. All right. Thursday Night Football. Bills, Texans. Somehow, Mark, the Texans with Davis Mills, they've been able to breathe new life into this team. 3-0 since him joining, and they are now 6-5 after being 3-5 and seemingly out of the AFC South. I still don't know if we're totally confident they're winning this division, but that defense once again has proved why they are considered to be the best or at least a top 3 unit in the league. 2 interceptions by Josh Allen. Not a great game from him. That run game for Buffalo still continues to do damage, but yeah, 3 turnovers, couldn't overcome it. Texans get a big win and a tough loss there for Buffalo too.
Dude, Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter combined for 4.5 sacks. Josh Allen was sacked 8 times in this game. I think I heard a stat
And
somewhere.
that wasn't most sacks for the week, by the way. We'll
get to that with just Chip Kelly. I heard a stat somewhere that the Bills are 0-4 on the year. So they're 7-4. They're 0-4 in the year when Josh Allen doesn't score 3 total touchdowns. Like, I know a lot of the line has been, Cook has to run for 100+ yards. And that was kind of the through line. But now it seems like if Josh Allen is not Superman, this Bills team is not winning. I think this game was more about the Texans kind of making a stand and showing that they organizationally haven't fallen off the map yet, right? Like, this is a tough year. They won the division the last 2 years, kind of a surprise 2 years ago. Then they were a heavy favorite last year. They were a big favorite going into the year this year. And now it's like, hey, we're alive. Like, we're battling back. The question mark for me will be, what do they do now that they're getting CJ Stroud back? Because this Texans offense, I mean, this Texans team was 3-5 with CJ Stroud in 8 games. They're 3-0 now with Davis Mills. I'm not saying that Davis Mills is better than CJ Stroud, but what I'm saying is the pressure is on CJ Stroud to keep this momentum going, this 3-0 run. And for the Bills, I think we can officially say now they are not winning the AFC East. The Bills, I think, have a very good chance still to be a wild card team, especially because they have the win over the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So that'll save them there. But this Bills team now is going into the playoffs with Josh Allen as a wild card team. That's the first time we're going to really see Josh Allen in this space in a long time. And so how will that look? How will that feel? No home field advantage for Buffalo. This team doesn't feel like an AFC title team as of this morning. They feel very inconsistent, and I would have some big question marks if I'm the Bills going forward. Mainly, how do we help Allen not have to be Superman? Because it's just too hard for him to be Superman every single game. He's putting up better numbers right now through 11 games than he did in his MVP year last year. But it doesn't feel like the Bills are a better football team than they were at this point in time last year. Bills have the Steelers next week. Texans have the Colts. 2 ginormous games as we look ahead to week 13. And at the end of the show, I have some big matchups right now for week 13. Week 13 is chock full of ginormous games. Bills, Steelers, Texans, Colts, 2 of the best on the schedule next weekend.
Yeah, I think we're going to say that about every week moving forward with how the NFL has slated this thing up. It is interesting. I don't know what you put for this week, but I happened to notice at least last week, and I don't know how long this has been, that you have not had Buffalo in your top 10 for the rankings. I found that to be an interesting one. The Bills have been in my top 10. Actually, they've been in my top 5 for quite a while, and that's mainly because of Josh Allen. But if I want to help make your point a little bit here, they've had a pretty easy schedule overall this part of the season, and they're only at 7-4. And there's not really a signature win. I mean, of course, the win against the Chiefs, but now we're seeing that how poor the Chiefs are. A 41-40 win over the Ravens in week 1, and week 1's kind of just, you can't really put too much stock in that. But otherwise, it's, we've got the Panthers, the Falcons thrown in there, the Saints, Dolphins, Jets. Like, this back half of the schedule where they're going to have to face Pittsburgh next week, Joe Burrow the week after that, in New England the week after that, and then they still have the Eagles as well. These are going to be some tough, and not to mention the Browns defense they're going to have to go up against later this year. So I think this slate of the schedule here is really where we're going to see what the Buffalo Bills are made of, truly.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Absolutely, we need to learn a lot. I had the Bills out 2 weeks ago, back in after the win last week.
Okay, gotcha.
And then back on the outside looking in. Right now, I don't feel like they are an AFC title contender. I just don't. I think they're a playoff team that
Yeah.
obviously Josh Allen can win a playoff game himself. I have no reason to believe that the Bills are a team that's going to go on the road and win multiple playoff games to get to an AFC title game at this point in time. I don't have the confidence in saying that.
Yeah. The only saving grace I would say is the AFC is pretty wide open. There's not a truly dominant team. Even the New
Very
England Patriots for the
cannibalistic.
1 seed, they don't feel like a dominant team. They've won. They've pulled off wins week after week, and you got to give them credit for that. But they don't feel like they've smothered the opposition throughout. And so
There was a question I think Barstool Big Cat asked it, and I really liked it. And I think he was asking, I'll give you 2 groups. You pick one of these groups to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. Are you taking Group A, which is Denver, New England, and the Colts, or Group B, which is Kansas City, the Bills, and the Ravens? Knowing that the Bills and the Chiefs might not even make the playoffs, which one of those groups are you taking? And most everyone still says Bills, Chiefs, Ravens. But how much longer are you going to be able to say that?
Yeah, exactly. We've got a couple weeks here where we're gonna be able to really, really figure out exactly what we're working with.
Yeah.
Here going into that, final stretch and the playoffs. All right, let's get this one over with. The Bears beat the Steelers 31-28. Caleb Williams, I will start with him. I thought overall, Mark, that this could have been a 42-28 game. Caleb missed a lot of wide open guys over the middle and, sailed it. Now, granted, I think Pittsburgh applied some pressure up the middle that kind of maybe caused him to make some errant throws. But yeah, I felt like this could have gotten a little bit even more away from Pittsburgh by the end of it. But, ultimately it was, I think if Aaron starts the game, I know we texted right afterwards, like, if Aaron starts that game, do the Steelers win? I think probably, but at the same time, the defense gave up 31 points in this game. We had that one great play from TJ, the strip sack in the end zone for the touchdown. Other than that, our offense scored 21 points on I don't know if I've seen a more injury-riddled defense for one game. You guys were down more than half your starters. We were working with practice squad linebackers at a certain point, and yet they didn't even throw to the middle of the field one time against those linebackers. I think it's coaching malpractice. I've beat a dead horse to this point with talking about it. But for the Bears, I thought that was a really good win because that's a game where the Bears could have easily folded in years past under the pressure. Certainly from a coaching perspective, with the lack of talent on defense that you guys are working with, I'm not sure that they would have been able to put out that kind of performance and create the turnovers in that moment. So I think we saw a lot of Ben Johnson all over this game, and ultimately Caleb didn't make those catastrophic mistakes outside of the one in the end zone, and I thought those were kind of the differences.
Yeah, I think you covered a lot there, which I agree with. I'll start with Caleb because you started with Caleb. I agree 100%. This was overall, I would say, a B- performance.
Yeah, not
Caleb.
a great overall
but Dan,
Caleb performance.
If a B- performance from Caleb is 239 yards and 3 touchdown passes, what does an A+ performance from Caleb Williams look like?
Right,
that is what excites me as a Bears fan, right?
Yep.
Is that if and he wasn't great. He was objectively not great. But he also ran really well, 4 carries for 21 yards, and at the right moments ran well. And listen, the sack fumble touchdown, I actually think that was a needed play for Caleb Williams because he doesn't throw picks. And so he is probably a top 3 quarterback in the NFL at avoiding sacks. And I think he needed that moment from an elite player like J.J. Watt. I'm so glad it was J.J. Watt that did that.
TJ.
Oh, T.J. Watt. Yeah, sorry. J.J. was on the call. For T.J. Watt to do that, because I think they're going to be able to now really drill it home with him. Like, hey, kid, you are special, but you need to know when there is equal special on the opposite side. And the Bears are going to be playing Myles Garrett coming up. The Bears are going to be playing Micah Parsons twice coming up. The
Yeah.
Bears are going to be playing Aiden Hutchinson coming up. So it's a reminder, just that little nugget in his head, like when you are going against insert name here and you are the more elite talent, you know what? You can get away with a lot, especially with how great that offensive line was. Can I shout out the offensive line? They showed it in the replay.
Yeah.
TJ Watt showed in the replay. The Kyle Monungai handoff touchdown, like near the goal line, that was like the perfect wedge of like what they describe in Pee Wee football. Like you're going to create a wedge and no one's going to penetrate. He just kind of like marched in behind Dahlman, Jackson, Tooney. The rookie Ozzie Trapillo got his first start, and he was fantastic. 0 pressures against that really good Pittsburgh defense. I thought Darnell Wright overall played a really good game against an All-Pro and Hall of Famer in TJ Watt. And I'll just say this. I think to finish that point on Caleb and everything, he needs a moment like that to be like, hey, dude, like, there's elite players in this league who are going to make you look like a fool if you give them a chance to. Don't give TJ Watt a chance to make you look like a fool. Don't give Micah Parsons a chance to make you look like a fool. Yeah. And so I think that's a great point to drive home. He wasn't great, and yet his stats say he was great. And really, when you watch the game, he made great plays. And that's what's
and he did this all without much of a run game. Like the Bears didn't run very effectively.
They did not run effectively, and that was a kind of a frustrating thing. Only 10 carries between Monungai and Swift. I thought the Steelers did a great job of committing to the ground game. 36 carries, 186 yards, 2 touchdowns. They did not attack passing the middle of the Bears defense, but it's like Tomlin and Arthur Smith said, we're going to try to attack this with the run game. And it almost was enough for them.
It was. There were several parts of the game where I was like, this is exactly what we need because you're taking what they're giving you. I wasn't livid that we weren't taking these massive shots because it was working. Like there were 2 drives in there in the middle of the game where it was basically just shallow crosses and dig routes, sideline digs, and it was working. And they were getting guys in the flats and getting that yak that they're known for, and it was constantly working. And they were running the football, like you said, they were sustaining drives. But then, a couple back-breaking turnovers, the first throw of the game for Mason.
Well, Nashawn Wright too. That was a sick.
That was an incredible play. But it was underthrown. I mean, it was an underthrown. And honestly, what Mason Rudolph was known for that we were kind of expecting more of was he's known for taking like aggressive shots and having a deep ball. I think they had 4 attempts deep down the field. All of them were underthrown. It was just, he was missing guys left and right.
It wasn't good.
I thought Pittsburgh did a poor job overall of putting their guys in positions to succeed in this game. They left their 3rd string linebacker in there far too often to cover the middle of the field, and the Bears were picking that apart, especially on the DJ Moore touchdown. They put Darnell Washington, who a mammoth, absolutely, tight end, but he's not an offensive tackle, and they put him one-on-one with Montez Sweat twice, and they both led to the big sack fumble and then a sack, another sack as well. So that was really bad. And then it brings me back to the end of the game where they had a chance. You're at midfield with a minute to go. You're feeling really good about needing 10 yards to get in Boswell field goal situation. And then you inexplicably commit what's the terminology for it? Wrong formation, illegal formation penalty. After Mason scrambles for 15 yards, gets us into field goal range, we're going to tie it, you think, with Boswell. Yep. That brings you back. And then instead of being prepared with Boswell to roll him out onto the field, on 4th and 6, they try and pass it again in a passing game that you haven't passed it 6 yards the whole game, and we're going to try and get a 4th and 6. That would have been a 64-yarder. I would much rather have rolled out Boswell and just tried to kick it than try and go for it with Mason on 4th and 6. So a lot of issues at the end of the game I had with Pittsburgh for sure. But that's Tomlin.
Yeah, I want to talk about a couple things you just brought up there. Montez Sweat had a really good game, and the Bears needed him to have a big game to kind of offset the TJ Watt extremely good game. The Bears' last 2 drives were really disappointing. The Bears had a chance. Caleb has been great in the fourth quarter. And the last 2 drives, especially the final drive, it felt so predictable. Run. I don't like the rollout pass.
Because they let Pittsburgh save a timeout.
Yes, and if you're going to throw it there, I want him in shotgun, and I want it to be really quick over the middle. If it's not there, run it, and then just let the time roll and force them to timeout. Or
Caleb should have went down on that play. Ultimately,
yeah, and again, I think that's a great learning. There's a lot for Caleb to have learned from this game, and I hope he does learn from it. So the Bears deserve a lot of criticism for that. Listen, one of the things that I thought was a really interesting part of this game, I almost started tweeting like the Bears are dead, it's over, kind of like how I was in the panic of the Giants game, when after the strip sack fumble touchdown, the Steelers got the ball right back on that DeAndre Swift fumble. And I'm like,
which was probably a bad call.
Sit.
I think I'm losing you. I don't hear you anymore, Mark. That is.
I think my paper's on my touchpad. I think accidentally I was moving them in it.
Okay, I can hear you now. Yeah, we're back.
So like that is a huge moment, right? The Steelers get the ball back, and then what did the Steelers do? The failed 4th down tush push, and so he has this weird situation, right? There's this weird part of the game where the Steelers have the lead, 21-14, right? And it's like strip sack fumble touchdown, and then you have the Bears fumble, and then the Steelers turn it over, and then what does Caleb do? He settles everything down. And then they end the half with that field goal. And I thought that was such a huge, hey, steady the waters, 21-17. We get some points at half. The Steelers then get the ball at half. The Bears stop the Steelers, and then Caleb goes immediately down and has a really great touchdown drive there. And I think that deserves a lot of credit. I'm frustrated with the last 2 drives of the fourth quarter, but there's great moments like that. Like the Bears, so far this season before this game, you can say 2 things about them offensively. Really great in the first quarter, really great in the fourth quarter of the game-winning drives. Second and third quarter got muddled. And I'll say this. In this game, it felt like the momentum didn't totally die, even after it felt like it did with a fumble touchdown and then another fumble. They were able to get momentum back. And then the third quarter, you start like, hey, we're back in gear. And so I really appreciated that. Now, can I get the complete game, right? Can I get the fourth quarter drive to just kick a field goal and make it null and void, right?
Yeah.
And so if that happens, then I'm really, really feeling great. Like I'm on all cylinders high. I will also say the Muth chance after the touchdown, that threw me off. I was like, oh, the Steelers fans travel, baby. Like that doesn't happen in Chicago. And it did. It was a credit to Steelers fans. And I also thought to myself, it was the first time I was like, wait a minute. Where are the good tight ends? They're not featuring the tight ends at all in this game. And we have third string linebackers.
I know. That makes no sense.
And that really landed for me. There's a couple tweets I have saved. So let me just go to them now. And I apologize. I don't really remember what they are, but I know I saved them.
So I'm like, I do the same. Where I'm like, I'm gonna call this back later.
And so I want to just try to look here to make sure I'm not missing it. Okay, I have. It looks like 2. Number 1, the turnaround of the Chicago Bears offensive line. This is from Courtney Cronin, who's the Bears ESPN reporter, who's so good. Chicago leads the NFL in pass block win rate, 73%. The Bears finished the Steelers game with an 85% pass block win rate, where the O-line held their block for 2.5 seconds or more. So that means if the O-line is holding their block for over 2.5 seconds, they're still winning 85% of the time. That is the second highest rate in a game this season for an offensive line. Against that Steelers pass rush, they deserve a ton of credit for that. according to Next Gen Stats, the Steelers defense entered the game with the most pass rush wins in the NFL. So this was the Bears stopped
Yeah,
the
the
Steelers
ultimate matchup.
at what they did really well. And so that makes me really confident in this offensive line. When I just said it, hey, we're going to have to go against Micah Parsons, Aiden Hutchinson, Myles Garrett. If the Bears play even somewhat okay in those games, they should survive that, right? The offensive line is showing you they're surviving it. And also, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the rookies. Luther Burden, only 3 catches for 46 yards, but he did have that run for 15 yards, which was huge on the double reverse. And 2 of the 3 catches were in big moments, big plays to move the chains. He really showed up as like, that's what you want out of your wide receiver number 3. He was all over big plays.
Yep.
Caleb and Rome are still struggling right now. 3 catches, 53 yards on 9 targets. But I loved what him and DJ Moore had a great connection. 2 of his 3 touchdown passes to DJ. And then finally, Colson Loveland. Damn. Over his last 5 games, since he really reset and the Bears, he came back from the injury. 300 yards from tight ends. That's 3rd amongst tight ends. 0 drops. That's 1st among tight ends. 3 touchdown catches, tied for 2nd. This is all over the last 5 games. 5th in yards after the catch, 2nd in passer rating when he's targeted, 12 first down catches. That's the 5th most in the NFL in that game, in that span. And then 5 missed tackles. That's 2nd amongst tight ends over the last 5 games. And what's crazy is he only has 25 targets, and that's 11th out of tight ends over the last 5 games. So he is doing the maximum with less target share. He is really developing into a special weapon, and his game is really starting to remind me of a young Travis Kelce. When you watch him, he's not Sam Laporta. He's very much a big kind of wide receiver type of body that's really starting to develop.
Or dare I say Greg Olsen.
It's some Greg Olsen. He's a little more fluid. Greg always ran so tall, but it's a little, yes, he is really, really coming along. I want to see more consistency out of the run game, but overall I would say a lot of people are shitting on the Bears online. It's like, oh, you beat a backup, blah, blah, blah. You can only beat who's in front of you. And again, do you want them losing to backups? No, you'll give them shit for that. So I'd rather you try to throw the shit by saying, oh, you're only beating backups. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, I can understand some of those arguments a month into the season, but we're 8-3. This is an 11 game span. There's a reason that they're 8-3. A lot of other teams have had similar breaks and are not 8-3. So
this is a team that started 0-2. Remember, I mean, this is 8-1 in the last 9. It is as on fire as you can be. Bears at Eagles Friday night game. That's the Amazon Prime game on Black Friday, and then of course Steelers Bills. For the Bears, I'll just say this for Friday: if the Bears beat the Eagles, and depending on how that game looks, even if it's a close game, cardiac Bears again win in the 4th quarter. I don't know how you're not saying that the Bears are not. The Bears should be considered the 2nd best team in the NFC. Right, yeah. If they go into Philly and win that game, it's the Bears and the Rams, and that's 2018 all over again. It's feeling a lot.
I would say that gap is a little bit wider than most 1-2s, but still they would have to be in that conversation, no question.
I mean, who would you put above them if they beat the Eagles in the NFC? I don't think there's anyone.
I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit later. I do feel like the 49ers are slowly becoming a force again, to be honest. I think they're going to be dangerous come playoff
picks time. And Mr.
INT. Yeah, but they still, that's the thing is they are very well rounded, and they're getting a lot out of a defense lately that had a very shaky start and a lot of questions. So I think they're kind of built for this moment a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll see how
Caleb Williams also now officially through I think it's his I can't remember what amount of games, it's now almost 30 games started, has a 3.6 to 1 touchdown to interception ratio. So you average that out, 36 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. That is, I saw the tweet somewhere. I know it's early, but a 3.6 to 1 touchdown ratio. Like there's only like 5 guys in the league history that like have that. And so I know it's way too close to project out, but you're talking about like historically, if this is who he is, and again, Caleb's not playing great football. He's still a really young player with a ton of things he has to work on. But
Yeah, sure.
the way he takes care of the ball, that's like special trajectories, the type of stuff he's on.
Yep. Yep. No, I totally agree. I'll say one final thing on Pittsburgh before we move on, and we'll probably go like a little more quickly through a lot of these other games because we did obviously spend a good portion on Bears Steelers as we should. Um, I'll just say this one thing, and I texted you at the game. I honestly feel that the Steelers are kind of done. I feel right now like 9-8 now is like their ceiling. Um, and I don't think that that's going to be good enough for them to get a playoff spot uh, come week 19 as we get ready for, that postseason push. 9-8 is too tall of a task. They already don't have the tiebreaker over a lot of these wild card teams, especially the Chargers that we're talking about there. I don't see them beating the Bills. I'm not sure who does. But I will say this game against the Bills is now the life support game for Pittsburgh. I think this is a absolute must win for Pittsburgh to keep their season afloat. If they fall to 6-6, I know mathematically they won't be out, but I will feel very confident to tell you they are done. There's no chance. And so going into this game against Buffalo that I don't feel they have a good opportunity to win, I'm obviously pretty close to being at that place right now and saying that it's too little, too late for Pittsburgh. They had their moment. They had their opportunities earlier this season to take advantage of the division when the Ravens were down and out, and they squandered it. And now they've already ruled out their left tackle, Broderick Jones, for next week. They've already ruled out their first round defensive tackle, who's been a big part of their run defense the last 3 weeks. And now we're going against the Bills team who is angry and who is also coming off of an extended break with 10 days rest coming into this game in Pittsburgh. So the deck is stacked right now against the Steelers, and I'm not sure that they can get out from underneath this one, but must win this upcoming week against Buffalo. No question about it. They got 2 more games against Baltimore as well. It's the only thing that's keeping them in it. But if they lose to Buffalo, I think all of it's moot. So that's where it is. They have to get to 10 wins, right, Mark? They're at 6. They need
9.
They need 4 wins the rest of the season. They play Miami and Cleveland that you would say, okay, that's their best chances to get 2 wins. So let's say we give them those wins.
We'll get to 8.
They're losing a game to the Baltimore Ravens, right? So that's 8 wins, 6 losses. And then they've got Buffalo and another Baltimore game and the Lions in there.
They got to get 2 of those
as well. They got to beat they have to beat Buffalo or Detroit.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And then they probably would need to sweep Baltimore then if they lose to Buffalo. So this is
Cleveland is a rival that you never know.
Yeah,
and Miami is played better football as of late. It's a tough spot. It's a really tough spot. But Dan, I just think, listen, I wouldn't say sky falling, but I do think that to me it comes down to the Baltimore games and the Cleveland game. Like those are the games, right? Like that's the season. You've got to find a way to win those games. There's not going to be
with Buffalo too. I just thought about it. They're going to be a wild card team. Pittsburgh's going to need that tiebreaker because they don't have the tiebreaker over the Chargers.
Yeah,
Chargers already beat them.
But to me, I don't think there's 2 teams getting in from the AFC North anyway. So I think it's the division or nothing for the AFC North.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I'm with you, but I also think to myself, that's why the division games, it's like, hey, can you go 3-0 in your 2 games against Baltimore and then you're 1 against Cleveland? then you can maybe win that.
Yeah.
You can maybe get in at 9 wins because you're just winning your division. So
Yeah.
there's a path. They're not going to be mathematically eliminated probably until the last game of the season. But I think it is. I think you're right. It's going to be a stressful ride to the playoffs, which started with such a promising start. It's now muddled into holding out for dear life for a playoff run.
All right, we can move on. The Bengals are getting Joe Burrow back this upcoming week, which is kind of funny at this point because they're 3-8. Like I'm not sure what they have to play for. They could go 6-0, I suppose, and try for some miracle run. So there is that. But the Patriots beat them 26-20. It wasn't a world beater day for Drake May and company, nonetheless. But the important part for the Patriots was that they are just continuing to win games. They are 10-2. They are atop the AFC and leading the AFC East. They're a legitimate contender, like an absolute legitimate contender for at least a conference championship. I mean, they're obviously leading the conference. I don't buy them as like this like force. We talked about this earlier. I don't really buy many teams in the AFC as a force. But man, what a ride it's been for New England.
Well, they're an 11-win team because they play the Giants next week. Listen, their schedule. Listen, you can only play who's in front of you. This would have been, when you circled it at the beginning of the year, a tough game because you circle it as Joe Burrow's playing and Jamar Chase is playing, and neither of those guys played. Hendricks didn't play. Like, there's a lot of things, right? So you can only play who's in front of you. As a Bears fan, trust me, I'm on the you can only play who's in front of you. But this is a Patriots team that will win at least 11 games and probably closer to 13. And I think
that's just crazy to think about, isn't it? I mean, it's all Drake May and Mike Vrabel. That's it. But
listen, the Bengals gave them everything, and there was no Jamar Chase, and there was T. Higgins.
Yeah, T. Higgins was out.
T. Higgins left the game, and so you're like Yoshiva is your guy at this point in time, and it's like,
they had to Chase Brown, and
they were still in it. Like, it was never like out of reach. It was still like the Bengals are hanging around. I'll say this: I love that Joe Burrow's playing. Joe Burrow needs to prove that he can play football, like truly. Like, he is at the point where it's like I'm not there yet with like a Jane Daniels. Like, he's still like, okay, it's only year 2, like, sit him. But if this is like Jane Daniels again next year, it's like, no, play. Like, you got to play. Like, you got to play. With Joe, it's like, dude, we're paying you $60 million. You got to play. I'm sorry, you got to play. We're not. You don't get the season off. If you're healthy, go play. I think that was with Brock Purdy too. It's like, okay, you're 90% and you're getting paid $60 million. You got to go play. We're done. Like, you got to go play. And I'll say this for the Patriots. The one thing they need to keep an eye on is struggles near the goal line. They had 7 plays to try to get 1 yard, and they ended up with a field goal. There's a little bit of, I think that's just the young quarterback and kind of the non-go-to total weapon, and Henderson kind of not being the total bell cow back yet. A little confusion for them, and they've struggled.
It's worth pointing out that there's Will Campbell is done.
That was it. I knew it.
Large portion, yes, that was the
He'll
injury,
miss
and then their right guard, their starting right guard also has gone down with an injury, so they might be down 2 of their top offensive linemen for a considerable amount of time. That we'll see how much that plays a factor in the rest of the season here, because that's a big deal, especially for Drake May, who has had his fair share of sacks to start his career. That could be an issue.
Yes, I'll put it this way. If we're talking next week about the Giants somehow upsetting the Pats at home, we'll probably be pointing to the offensive line as being a major issue. Yeah. So good call on that. I knew there was an injury that was impactful that we had to talk about. Pats Giants is Monday Night Football. Get that date is December 1st. We're already in December, folks. The next time the Patriots play next week will be December. Cincy is at the Ravens Thanksgiving night, and I'm glad that Burrow is playing. The lineup for Thanksgiving is elite. We'll talk about it at the end of the show.
Yeah. The Lions beat the Giants 34-27. It wasn't the most convincing victory, I suppose, for the Lions' sake, but nonetheless, they're still able to get a victory. It wasn't overtime. Jahmyr Gibbs went world beater on this one. Just huge play after huge play, 219 yards rushing. on the ground. Yeah, the Lions are starting to worry me a little bit. Mainly because they, now we're seeing like multiple games where they're just not seemingly getting enough out of Jared Goff. Like, he had the bad pick, he threw 42 times in this game, so you're like, okay, that's not ideal. This team is built to run, and they did. But I don't know. I mean, it's a one touchdown win. Obviously, you're happy with that. I just there are aspects of Detroit that still give me pause every now and then. I feel the same way about Green Bay as well. Like, a team coming into the season, we're like, wow, riding high, like really, really good. But there's just something. There's just something. It's not the Detroit from the last couple years.
No, I agree with you 100%. That's great. If you look at the NFC, it's like the Rams have like little things that are like nitpicky. You're kind of like, but otherwise they're in a tier at the top by themselves. That next tier, Eagles, Lions, Bears, Packers, Niners, Seahawks, all pretty much to me equal. You rank them however you want. They're in that second tier below the Rams, but ahead of like the Panthers, the Bucks, you know what I mean? The Vikings, the Dallas. And so those teams all have something. And for the Lions, I think their thing is right now, in my opinion, their offensive line overall play has been less than it was last year. And I think their overall offensive uniqueness in the run game has been less. And it's caused them to get into some of these weird games where either A, like last week, where their offense just could not get any rhythm, or B, this week, Dan, Jahmyr Gibbs had 15 carries for 219 yards, which you're saying to yourself, that's amazing. What's wrong with that? It's almost like he should have had 219 yards on 30 carries. You know what I mean? Like the Lions had 200. They had over 100, almost double the rushing yards the Giants had, like over 120 yards more. But the Giants had 9 minutes more of time of possession.
Yeah.
So the Lions,
and you're like, why is Jared Goff, when you're rushing 220 yards, why is Jared Goff throwing the ball 42 times?
Because again, they were down and they had to get back in the game at times because their defense couldn't get off the field. Now, I will also say this. The Bears and the Packers also have beaten the Giants this year. And now the Lions have all 3 games.
Yeah.
Like all 3 games for those teams, like we all common opponent, Bears, Giants, the Giants for the Bears, Packers, and Lions. All of the teams are like, thank God we beat them, like we escaped. So the Giants are kind of playing some crazy football. I mean, this game had over 1,000 yards of offense and 16 total penalties. So it's just a mess of a game. But I'm not gonna fault the Lions for finding a way to win at home against a Giants team where Jameis Winston is catching an insane touchdown pass and making moves into the end zone. Like, it's wild. So I'm not gonna panic in that way, but I'll just say this. For the Lions, I think they are, to me, I think I would put them second behind the Rams right now in the NFC. As far as if you made me bet who's going to represent the NFC, I'd probably go Rams, Lions, Eagles.
Lions and Eagles are so close.
Slight head of Eagles because I do think the Lions offense I have a little more faith in right now. Like the Eagles offense feels pretty broken.
Yeah.
Where guys are blaming each other. The Lions can score. It just can get weird and wild. So love to see Jameis playing. Jameis is such a fun watch. Lions or Packers, that's noon on Thanksgiving. That is going to be, I cannot wait.
Yeah, and it's good for the Bears as well to know that one of these teams is getting a loss this week. That's super helpful. And then obviously you get an opportunity the next day.
Yep.
To see if you can continue that separation.
If the
who
Lions,
do you want to win? If you're, as a Bears fan, who would you rather win this game to help your chances?
Well, the Lions, because the Packers have that tie. So you got to get the Packers in the loss column.
In the losses column, yeah.
And the Lions will take the lead over the Bears. Whoever wins this game will take the division lead for the day. And no, that's not true because the Lions would be 8. If the Lions win, the Bears will still have the division lead because the Bears will have the less in the loss column. But if the Lions win and then the Bears lose, the Lions will have first place because they have the tiebreaker over Chicago. But the Bears have a chance still to respond to the Lions to tie that up. So I want the Lions because I want to get the Packers to that equal in the loss column or more than in the loss column. That to me is the most important thing as far as talking about the division, and also fuck the Packers. It's just like I can't.
Yeah, fair enough.
Speaking of the Packers,
I think we can touch on a few of these other games coming up. There's a lot of the games in the afternoon window that I think we can absolutely just like breeze through
for sure,
gloss over. There's probably just like a couple more matchups this week that are worth diving in and discussing. We can talk real quick. The Packers beating the Vikings. I don't think that was too much of a surprise. Jordan Love didn't have to do too much himself in this game either, but 23-6. I think more of this game was a sign that there may be issues with the JJ McCarthy situation in Minnesota. Things are not looking good there for number 9.
Dude, he's on graphics with Jamarcus Russell and he's losing the graphics.
Yeah.
That's what you're seeing online. You're like, wait, what?
And this is one of those cases where all of us with the head saying, this was a head scratcher pick. This is one of those situations where most of America was correct. We always talk about how quarterback picks are always like toss-ups. Ultimately, there are some no-brainers that you go after and you're like, okay, if it didn't work out, it didn't work out. But almost everybody was like coming into this, JJ McCarthy barely threw passes at Michigan. He's not a first-round pick, but he was in a loaded class. And, people thought at the time the Vikings reached for this guy. But look, if he can't last in Minnesota, I'm confident that it's not going to really work out, regardless. We'll put it that way.
My big thing is he's going to be their starting quarterback next year. You invested in him.
Yeah,
like
he's got to be.
So you have to get it like another full off season. So I'm not gonna beat it to death. I keep giving it time, but right now it's not working. And I would just tell Kevin O'Connell at some point, just take the training wheels off because it feels like he's trying to let me perk the perfect play. Just call the game. Just call the game and see what the kid does because I think he does have talent. It's just not coming out. He was sacked 5 times. Micah had 2. I think the story was really the Packers defense saying we're done getting embarrassed at home, and they were really, really elite. 3-game losing streak for the Vikings. They were 2 of 9 on third down. Listen, they had like negative yards in the second half. It was bad. It was really bad. They are at Seattle next week. That's going to be a really fun Sam Darnold revenge game. Good luck to the Vikings in that one. And the Packers, obviously, Lions Thanksgiving Day. It's going to be a ginormous game.
Seahawks are 8-3 after beating the Titans 30-24. Titans have 1 victory. They are 1-10 on the season. Any takeaways from this game other than Seahawks won a game they were supposed to win? It was a little bit closer than you anticipated.
It wasn't that because it really was late scores and it felt like Seattle had it. Like Jackson Smith and Jigba, another just like, dude, 8 catches, 167 yards.
He's like so obviously the best receiver in the NFL. It's crazy.
Dude, he averaged 20.9 yards a catch in this game. 20.9.
And the great. Steelers haven't completed a 20-plus yard air pass in the month of November. Incredible.
Oh, that's tough. I will say this. Cam Ward is throwing to no one. He was also their leading rusher. This game was, to me, just a reminder that if you do the right by Cam Ward, he can be a quality starter in this league. And when I say quality, I think he has the chance to be what you see from CJ Stroud, right? Like, I think he has that still in him for sure. Mm-hmm. 21 total penalties. It was a really ugly game. Tennessee was down 16-3 at half. It was credit to them for scoring 21 points in the second half, but it also felt like, listen, they got up and it was just kind of like, oh, Tennessee's getting back, but then Seattle did just enough to keep the game at bay. Great bounce back for Darnold. He needed a game like this. It seems easy for him. He was only sacked once. Tennessee, I don't think is worse than the Raiders right now, but they're probably the second worst team in football.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Seattle's an 8-win team, Dan, and they're at home. They're at home against the Vikings, and Tennessee plays the Jags next week.
The Kansas City Chiefs edge the Indianapolis Colts. A big game there for both teams. This was my win of the week for Kansas City. 23-20 is my win of the week because Kansas City, amazingly enough, was like on life support for their season. You go to 5-6, your odds of even making the playoffs are pretty low. So they've hung tough, and it was a big win. I will say the Colts blew this one. I mean, they're up 20-9 going into the fourth quarter, and in terms of their fourth quarter possessions and overtime, they had 4 possessions. They were all 3 and outs.
Dude, it's so bad.
Every single one was a 3 and out.
So bad.
And after putting up 8-play, 11-play drives in the third, another 8-play drive in the second, 7-play drive to start the game, like the Colts had them on the ropes, and they absolutely faltered and gave up 14 unanswered to lose this one. So this was more on the Colts blowing it, but kudos to Kansas City for hanging in there, chipping away, getting field goals because they were not scoring touchdowns in this game, and they found a way to edge it out and keep their even keep their division hopes alive somehow. They're not mathematically eliminated from the division, but really now putting themselves in a place to get one of those high seeds potentially in the wild card.
Yeah, I mean, Indy's up 20-9 at the end of the third, and you saying to yourself, "Well, how does Indianapolis win? How does Indianapolis blow this game? How does the Chiefs win it?" Well, then you start digging in. You start looking into the stats. Kansas City was 2 of 2 on fourth down of this game. They won the turnover battle. They lost the turnover battle 2-0, but they won the time of possession by 17 minutes. So they kept Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor on the sidelines in crucial moments. And yes, it was just field goals, but they got enough of them to get back in this game. My win of the week, by the way, was the Texans. I forgot to say that at the beginning. I thought it was just like
that was a huge win.
They launched themselves back into real contention. For the Chiefs, I'll say this. Mahomes having to throw the ball 46 times. After this, I feel more confident in the Chiefs being able to win multiple playoff games than the Colts. But I still don't feel great about anyone in the AFC right now. The AFC
I know. It's a cluster. It's a total cluster.
So that's why I feel like the Chiefs, if you're the Chiefs, you've got to get into this dance. Because if you get into the dance, they will be the only team I truly feel confident about winning multiple playoff games on the road or at home, however they have to do it. Yeah. So they've got to find a way into the dance.
The Ravens beat the Jets by 13. Again, the Ravens were a team. They were struggling early. They were down at the half. The Ravens have been slow starters for the majority of the season, have not looked good at times, but really came through with a 20-point second half to secure victory. They've gotten Derrick Henry going more lately, which is good to see. He's starting to hit a second wave here this season. Lamar still seems a bit sluggish, but I don't know if this is injury and trying to respond from the injury, but it's a couple weeks now where Lamar and the Ravens offense hasn't really looked to put it all together. I know Kyle Hamilton's also been hurt, which is a huge blow to an already not great defense. So I still have a lot of questions about the Ravens, but kudos to them. From where they were just a month ago, they're 6-5. They're ahead of the division now, ahead of Pittsburgh, and I think they're gonna end up being the AFC North champs come the season's end. But again, to your point, I don't know who I feel great about in the AFC because these front runners, the Bills, the Ravens, the Patriots, the Chiefs, all of them have major flaws, and they haven't been convincingly great for a large stretch this year.
Yeah, the Ravens got to find the passing game a little bit more just consistency. And I think it's been hard with Lamar being out. I mean, Zay Flowers had 5 catches for 58 yards. No one else had more than 2 catches. I mean,
Yeah.
that includes Andrews. So it's like, let's find a way to maybe be a little more consistent. But I also think they just decided in this game, the Jets can't score. Let's just give the ball to Derrick Henry 21 times and like let's get out of Dodge with an like they're riding like sometimes on a 5-game win streak with the Ravens are trying to do here. Just win ugly and move on. I'm not a lot. I saw a lot of discord like, oh, the Ravens like, oh, blah blah blah. No real concern for Baltimore after this game. I think it's just a sloppy game that they took care of business against a Jets team that is showing more fight and more resolve. And the Ravens, we'll see Thursday night, Thanksgiving night, the tough test. Joe Burrow comes back against that defense. Will they make a stand?
Let's go Bengals.
Will they make a stand? Let's go Bengals.
The Browns beat the Raiders in Shadur Sanders' first career start, 24-10, and everyone's anointing Shadur now. He beat the worst team in the NFL and the worst defense.
Miles Garrett
played this game, did he?
No, he played. Max Crosby had 5 tackles for loss. He played okay. It just he was overshadowed by a physical
5 tackles for loss. Dude, okay.
0 sacks though. 0 sacks. Yeah. 0 sacks. Miles Garrett, he's the story. Malik Collins also 2.5 sacks for the Browns. The Browns had 10 sacks in this game. And Dan, Dan, I think
dude. Also, I don't remember a year where we were so clearly the defensive player of the year. Like,
well, Aaron Donald a couple years ago, like there was like, okay, it's Aaron Donald.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
Well, okay, I guess that was recent enough.
But it's been a couple years where in Aaron's like last 2 years, like Miles Garrett is one of those guys that when you just look at him, it doesn't make sense. Like he doesn't make sense. He's honestly like JJ Watt. Like JJ Watt in his prime, those 4 years. And I've said it to you, I've said it multiple times. I think prime JJ Watt, that 4-year stretch, is one of the top 3 defensive players of all time. I mean, what he was doing, go back and watch prime JJ Watt. He won 4 defensive player of the year in a row. Watch what he was doing. Like him, like
I think it was 3, but yeah.
Or 3. I mean, absolute. He was embarrassing people because he's physically built in a lab, like way different even than TJ. TJ is more built like Max Crosby, where you're like, they're long and they can bend.
They're shifty.
You know what I mean? Yeah. A little bit more like that with a high motor. Miles Garrett and JJ Watt,
overpowered people,
are dudes that are like Greek gods. They look like they're mythic creatures. And I give him a lot of credit. He's getting paid and he's just saying, screw it. He's doing the Calvin Johnson thing. He's doing the Joe Thomas thing. He's doing the Barry Sanders thing. He's just going, I'm going to be one of the greatest players of all time. I'm going to put up insane numbers and I'm going to make a ton of money. And what if I win? I guess whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna go out there and dominate. Let's quickly talk about Shadur Sanders. I thought it was fine. I thought there was a lot to like. I thought it clearly he's a quality starting quarterback over a Dylan Gabriel. Does that mean he's a starting quarterback in the NFL long term? I don't know. Let's see more, and let's see more against a competent football team. The Raiders are the worst team in football. 10 sacks. Geno Smith. I don't want to watch Geno Smith play football anymore. I don't. I'm done watching Geno Smith play football. It's just ugly. The Browns are taking the 49ers next at home. The Raiders are at the Chargers. 2 of the less interesting games next week.
The Jaguars beat the Cardinals in overtime 27-24. Again, one of those situations with Jacksonville where you're like, they left so much out there, and yet they are 7-4. They're right there in division. Trevor had some amazing moments and had some brutal moments.
A Jameis game. It was a Jameis game. 3-3.
3 picks for him. I don't get the guy. I don't get him. Also, a lot of sacks in this game. 3 for Jacksonville, 3 on Jacksonville,
Brissett was sacked,
and 6 on Brissett. So yeah, it was a sloppy game. It was definitely a sloppy game. Oh yeah, Trevor also fumbled the ball. So 4 turnovers for Trevor Lawrence in this game against the vaunted Cardinals defense. Yeah. I think we've seen enough to know what we're getting with Trevor at this point in time. It's going to be extremely streaky, and you're not going to know. It's just a lot of volatility.
It's not going to be good enough, right? That's the problem. Jags were 3-11 on third down, 0-1 on fourth. But they got to win on the road
Yeah,
against a feisty Arizona team. So I can't be that angry with them. They feel a little bit like the Bears. They feel a little bit like, the Packers, where it's like there's some real flaws, but how can I be angry? They're finding ways to win football games.
yeah,
I'll say this really quickly. Shout out to Dennis Gardeck, Crystal Lake South's own Dennis Gardeck, year 8 in the league, 1.5 sacks
that's
in this game,
awesome.
playing linebacker for the Jags. That's really fun to watch. Listen, the Cardinals need a lot. I don't want to spend a bunch of time on the Cardinals. As a team, they ran 20 for 55 yards, 20 times 55 yards. The Arizona Cardinals need like 3 really quality offensive starters and 3 really quality defensive starters and a quarterback. And
Need
then
an
I'll be like,
overhaul.
oh, okay. Then now they're interesting. Arizona's at Tampa. Tampa, that's kind of a must win. Like now that's like Tampa's gotten through the
Yep.
slog. Okay. Through the slog. I'm not panicking. I'll panic if you lose at home against Arizona next week. That's now like must win, get back in territory. Jags at Titans. For the Jags, this is a must look good and win. Like for the Jags, like for me to start building the confidence that they could win a playoff game this year, make the playoffs and win a game. At the Titans, division rival, go in there, put up 35 points, give up 10, get in and out, cut down to the turnovers, Trevor, and get to 8-4.
Yep, absolutely. The Dallas Cowboys even their record at 5-1 with a big victory over the Philadelphia Eagles. Um, it's kind of a weak one, but I'm gonna choose this as my loss of the week
Oh,
for
it is mine
me.
too.
Yeah,
I don't think it's that
um,
weak, Dan. I don't think
yeah,
it's that weak.
yeah, because you had an opportunity to take care of your division rival, of course, but to go 9-2 and really solidify yourself as the main
Defending Super Bowl
competition
champs. Yeah.
for the Rams, for the 1 seed. And, this is just a game you can't you'd be kicking yourself and gotta have back, especially with,
21
how
nothing.
sloppy it was in the 4th quarter for them. They missed that field goal, and then they fumble the ball on their next possession, and then they have to punt it later. Like, they couldn't ever put the, Cowboys away with a tie game for much of that, second half, really back and forth. Um, they had chances, and this is an offense that is supposed to be able to do that. They're supposed to put the hammer down, and the Dallas Cowboys defense is nothing to, write home about. And so, yeah, to do all of that and then to basically to give up 17 unanswered points there in the second half and not score anything was that's brutal. That's brutal. You were up big
So
and you let it slip away.
I think it's a strong loss of the week, and I'll make my case why. This is why I said it's a strong loss of the week, is that if this game was 24-21, you lose on the road against division rival, but it's, hey, they score touchdown, we score touchdown, we kick a
Yeah.
field goal, couple drives later, they kick a field goal, and we're just kind of blow for blow, and it's tough, and it's a rival, and it's a divisional game. You're up 21-0. You get your diva wide receiver AJ Brown involved. He's got all the catches, all the touchdowns, all the yards early in the game. Everything is momentum filling. You get Dak to throw a pick when they're down 21-0 midway through the second. You just intercepted Dak Prescott in the end zone, in the red zone. And you're up 21-0. This game is over.
Yep.
Dan, Eagles, after that pick, midway through the second, go punt, halftime, punt, 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 miss field goal. That on their longest drive after the interception, 7 plays. Fumble, punt.
Yep.
That's chaos. Like that's a disaster. That is a disaster. And then So you lose now in embarrassing fashion, and you give all of the momentum to your most hated rival, who's now not only alive, but like feeling. I feel more confident about Dallas than I do a lot of football teams right now. And Dallas has an opportunity. Pickens has been electric, 9 catches, 146 yards and a touchdown. Ferguson and CeeDee Lamb, like they have a ton of weapons. And Dan, since they made the deal, the trade deadline, we said we didn't really understand the trade for Quinn Williams. I was wrong. Like it's working. He is him and Rashawn Gary now, like in that front they have, like it's elite. And Dallas has 2 first-round picks next year. They don't really need 2 first-rounders on the team. They probably need a lineman, offensive lineman, and then maybe an edge guy.
Well, like a linebacker.
Or a linebacker. But this is a team that has put themselves in position to maybe sneak into the playoffs this year, and at worst, be a team with a ton of momentum going into next year and 2 first-round picks, and they don't need a quarterback or a star weapon. If they sign Pickens, and I got to be honest, I was really critical. You were really critical. The world was critical of Brian Schottenheimer and that hire. He's got his side of the ball right. Like their offense is good, and it's not just like it's designed well, and he's making the most of this opportunity, and good for him. I will say this: when your team is about to play a big game, you always kind of wish the other team you're playing is coming off of a win, right? Because you're like, if they're coming off a loss, they're going to be extra motivated. It's a good team. Good teams don't usually lose 2 games in a row. Fuck, I'm probably going to lose this game. I can make the argument, the way Philly lost this game, I'm ready for the Bears to step on their neck. Like, if the Bears go in there and beat Philly on Black Friday with the way Philly lost this game, and if Philly can't score against a Bears beat-up unit, and say the Bears win 27-20, but it's really 27-13, and then the Eagles get a late score, or something like that, and A.J. Brown only has 2 catches, like 5-alarm fire in Philadelphia for the defending Super Bowl champs. The Bears have an opportunity. I'm not saying that's what's going to be, but I'm just saying that this is an alarming loss for Philadelphia. They need to get right on Friday on a short week at home against a otherworldly hot Chicago Bears team. It's not going to be easy for them to do. And then Dallas plays Kansas City. Dan, Thanksgiving is so good.
That's going to be a really interesting, fun game. Well, with 2 teams that are literally just clawing out of the mud.
We'll wrap up the show here in a second with it. It's going to be great.
The Falcons beat the Saints 24-10. I don't think we need to spend time.
Only thing I wanted to say about this game was Pierce Jr., the first round rookie for the Falcons. He's really coming alive. In the last 3 games, 3.5 sacks. They don't have a first round pick. Remember, next year, the Falcons, they really could use one. That's actually going to the Rams. The Rams right now are picking in the top 10 because of Atlanta. That's insane.
Incredible. They can get their quarterback to succeed Matthew Stafford and be great.
I know. They end the 5-game streak, losing streak for the Falcons. Both teams, though, lots of issues, lots of problems. Falcons at Jets, Saints at Dolphins. Two of the games you don't need to pay attention to next week. There's too many other good games.
Yeah. The Rams destroy the Buccaneers 34-7. Matthew Stafford continues to be the MVP of the league. And the Buccaneers continue to struggle as of late, but they have reinforcements are on the way in the form of their schedule. It lightens up so much for them moving forward. And that's why I'm still confident that they're going to get to 10 wins and, take this division. But it is concerning that they haven't been able to really beat the great teams this year. They had those 2 wins earlier this season against the Seahawks and 49ers that were good. But the 49ers were banged up, and that was like early, Mac Jones still. But, whatever. Credit is due. They won those back-to-back games, but since then they've gone 1-4, and they've lost to 3 straight good teams. But it's much like how I talked about with the Steelers earlier this year. Like you can only use those excuses for so much. Like, you're supposed to beat some of these good teams to prove that you can win in the playoffs. You can win a playoff game. So while the Buccaneers are probably going to win this division and go to the playoffs and host a playoff game, these games have made me lose confidence in their ability to win a playoff game this year.
Totally.
As I am concerned about that. Now, I know they're going to get healthier. They got Chris Godwin coming back, and we'll see with Bucky Irving, but yeah, it's still troubling. And the Rams, by the way, they're incredible. They're the best team in the NFL. This is like the clear front runner to win the Super Bowl, I would say, and has been for a couple weeks now.
I would agree, and I had them as the 1 seed in the NFC. I had them winning the NFC West. I had them only as a 10-win team though, because the schedule was tough. Remember, I had like them all as 10-win teams.
Yeah.
But I think what we're realizing with the Rams is Matt Stafford having a weapon like Davante Adams is truly unfair. Like it's like he's got Megatron back in his own way, where it's like what Matthew Stafford does so well, and why he works with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp and Megatron and a guy like Adams, is that Matt Stafford finds what you're elite at, and he is so elite at doing what you need him to do for your elite thing, right? Like Davante Adams has now the most catches, like touchdown catches in NFL history from the 1 yard line in.
Yeah.
That's because him and Rodgers and Stafford, for all those years, it's like, I can do what you need me to do, and you are really good at this one thing, so let's just do it. Puka Nacua is really good at running routes deep and over the middle, and Matt Stafford is really good at just dropping it over the linebacker and right into your lap. Adams already has more touchdown catches in his Rams career than Puka Nacua does. So it just goes to show you, like,
wow,
this is a perfect match made in heaven.
Yep.
It was one of those moves where we're like, hey, look at Matt Stafford got Adams. Maybe he's got a little life left. It's the biggest free agent signing so far of the NFL offseason, like paying true dividends. And the Rams are a load. Baker got injured to his non-throwing shoulder.
Yeah.
This game was over before Baker got injured. It just was over from the start because they're not good enough yet. They're not.
They
good
will
enough
be in
right
real
now.
trouble if they have to go to their backup, which I don't even know who their backup
Teddy
is.
Bridgewater. And Teddy Bridgewater was not great in this game. He's a collect paycheck guy and was not expecting to play. And it was like, holy shit, I'm playing now. I'll say this. Stafford is the MVP. It's a joke if you're thinking otherwise. He's absolutely the most valuable player in the league right now. He deserves an MVP. This is his year. And I think this is maybe right now looks like his year to get Super Bowl number 2. And to be honest, then if you look at the numbers, the arc of the career, and that he gets an MVP, if he wins the second Super Bowl and an MVP this year, I would already put him ahead of Aaron Rodgers in a lot of ways. I think it's undoubtedly he now moves ahead. Stafford, you have to start having uncomfortable conversation about where he truly belongs in the pantheon of all-time great quarterbacks. If he's able to do that this year. And Dan, the Rams are at Carolina next week. That's not an easy game. And so I think it's going to be a really good
test. Carolina's got a good defense.
It's a really good test. And I expect them to win that game, but they have to travel all the way across country at Carolina. That's like an underrated good game next week. And then the Bucs at hosting the Cardinals. It's a must win for the Bucs. I don't care if it's 3-0, but it's just like, get that one, try to stay healthy and get on the right track.
We'll finish it up with Monday Night Football. The 49ers win 20-9 over the Carolina Panthers. Both these teams very sloppy early, trading turnovers left and right. I was like, what is happening? It's interception after interception. Fumble here. It was crazy. But the 49ers did settle in eventually and were able to get the win. Christian McCaffrey played a big part in that. Brock Purdy was less than stellar. He threw 3 picks in this game, 2 picks from Bryce Young as well. But, McCaffrey and then, Kittle had some really big catches late, as did Juwan Jennings. So they were able to put it together and beat a feisty Carolina team that was also playing for, a lot in this game. So I'll give San Francisco that credit. But yeah, it was definitely a sloppy game overall.
Yeah, listen, to me, this was one of those classic, like Carolina's. If you're a Carolina Panthers fan or general manager or owner or coach, you just have to look at this game and go, they had 3 interceptions in a quarter and a half from Brock Purdy, and these were all ugly interceptions. The first pick was ugly, no zip, late throw. Pick 2 in the end zone.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have thrown the ball. It just wasn't there. Pick 3 again, not seeing JC Horn like what are you doing? Like really horrific. And after those 3 picks, the Panthers were down 7-3.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Yeah.
Bryce Young
Got to be
had a
able to take
moment.
advantage.
Hey, when was the last time the Carolina Panthers were on Sunday Night Football? Probably since Cam Newton. Like, I mean, this was
Monday night. Yeah, yeah.
or Monday Night Football, right? Like, hey,
Yeah.
here's your chance. Like, we're giving you national game against a beat up Niners defense. Like, it's not a great Niners defense right now. No Bosa, no Greenlaw. Like, I mean, they're not an elite defense. They have an elite defensive coach.
Yeah.
They're not an elite defense. And it's like, dude, that's it. Like, that's it. I think Bryce Young probably goes into the offseason as the starter. But if I'm Carolina, I'm seriously considering bringing in a Kyler Murray or drafting a quarterback in rounds 2 or 3 to be like, this is an open competition.
Yeah, you gotta fortify that quarterback room.
Like,
No
it's
question.
an open
You
competition.
Can't let it just be his.
And if Bryce wins, he wins, but it's an open competition. And
Yeah.
so his one pick in the end zone, Bryce Young, it's like his first one it's like, dude, what? Like,
Yeah.
it's just not good enough. And for Purdy, I'll just say this. It felt like last week Purdy had the just adrenaline of needing the game. This week it felt like, oh, after that game, that toe wasn't feeling great and he's not 100% healthy. And this game, it just like truly is like he did not look healthy. Like he did not look good. And so I wonder if there was that lingering like, oh shit, maybe I really shouldn't be playing, but I kind of gotta be playing type of feeling. And Rico Dowdle only getting 6 carries is kind of inexcusable.
That was bad. Yeah, that was bad. Yeah,
You're not out of this game.
great.
Like run the ball. And so Niners are at Cleveland, and then Carolina is at the Rams. Don't be shocked if Cleveland is like a live dog in that game at home against the Niners.
Yeah, I mean, with that defense, a lot of crazy stuff can happen.
Yeah.
Real quick, we'll round robin, or not round robin, but go through the carousel of Turkey Day games. The Packers at the Lions. Detroit, a 2.5-point favorite in this game. Are you taking the Lions in this one?
I'll take the Lions and the Lions to cover. I think the Lions right now are a better football team than Green Bay. No Matthew Golden. He's been out injured. Jordan Love just doesn't look consistent. No Josh Jacobs, even though that undrafted kid they found, the third-year back Wilson or whatever, he was great. I think it's kind of a physical feel it out game, and I think that the Lions just have too much talent, even for that great Green Bay defense. I think the Lions win something like 27-17, 27-20.
The Chiefs are favored by 3 on the road in Dallas. This is one I'd probably take Dallas +3 because I think it's going to be so close. I would pick the Chiefs to win this game, but I think it's going to be super close. I think like the Chiefs can win it on last second field goal once again, something like that, because it's in Dallas and Dallas's offense has been really good. The Chiefs have been up and down. I don't know. This could get a little wild.
If I win my bet on the Packers Lions, then I will take some of those winnings and I will put them on Dallas money line. I think Dallas is absolutely alive to win this game. Their offense is right now a much better offense than Kansas City's offense. And defensively, even though I think Kansas City has a better defensive coordinator, Chris Jones is a stud, Karloff's a good player, like good linebackers. Dallas's defense has played better. They're at home, and both these teams have all the incentive in the world to need to win this game. I think this is going to be a close game no matter what. I think it's within a point or two. It's 28-27, it's 30-31, it's 21-20, whatever it is, it's really close. Mm-hmm. And so I would put money on Dallas though, just because I think the values with Dallas.
to end it, Bengals at the Ravens. The Ravens currently a 7-point favorite. Do you think this is because Joe Burrow hasn't been are they not expecting Burrow to be?
I don't think it's official yet, but I think even with Joe Burrow, I would say that's probably an appropriate line in the sense that wait, is that game at Baltimore or
home? It's in Baltimore, so
it's and Burrow, God only knows what he'll look like. I'll say this though.
I might take the over though, 52.5.
Yeah, that's fun. My thing is I really hope Burrow plays and I really hope he balls out. Like,
oh, dude, it'd be great.
Of Joe Burrow upsetting the Ravens and just kind of being like, I'm still that guy. Sorry, we're not going to make the playoffs this year, but I'm still that guy. I think is a more fun storyline for us all. And then it muddies the waters with the Steelers. Like it makes the rest of that division so much more interesting now.
Yeah, totally agree. And then Black Friday, Bears at the Eagles. Eagles right now opening up as 7-point favorites at home. I would take the Bears +7.
I love the Bears. I mean, I've already bet the Bears money line. Don't worry, but the Bears +7. I see this game is if the Bears offensive line plays like they just did against Pittsburgh, they are alive. They are very, very alive in this game. And I would say the only thing that concerns me is that if the Bears defense is not getting some guys back, dude, remember what Ashton Genty did when they just committed to the run, when it's like, dude, our guy's struggling. Let's just commit to the run.
Yeah.
It feels like it could be a Saquon Barkley 200 yards on 20 carries and 2 touchdowns. You know what I mean? Like Saquon just had like 10 carries for 22 yards. He might have 10 carries for 170 yards if the Bears defense doesn't get some guys back. And even if they get some of those guys back, it just feels like it could be one of those games. And if it's one of those games, it's one of those games. And I'm not going to be crying foul at 8-4 at a loss on the road to the defending champs who are bound. But I'd love to see Caleb Williams have his moment and have a really like A- game. Because if he has an A- game, we're talking the Bears could win in a blowout.
Yeah, I mean, get out the streamers. It's party time at that point. So, Ditka, I love it, rocking the Ditka sweater after all of it too. Good stuff. I'm excited. That's a great slate of games. Thursday and Friday. All of them are great. 4 games there. We'll have a lot to recap next week. Hope everyone has an awesome Thanksgiving. Good Black Friday. Enjoy family and a lot of football, and we'll see you then.